to leave. Research carried out by Travel Zoo and Bournemouth University suggests many Europeans fear a so-called Brexit will make holidays here more expensive. The study also claims that more than 40% of Londoners will be less likely to travel to the continent amid concerns it will be more complicated to cross borders. Louise Hodges is from Travel Zoo. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let's address that issue first then of the idea of going perhaps to places like Spain and Italy and now having to kind of fill in a visa to get there like we would do to go to America. What evidence, in your opinion, is there to suggest that could happen should we vote to leave?
Well, actually at the moment it's very confusing about what could and should happen should we vote to leave, and that's one of the problems really for the general public. And we saw from this study that 45% of Londoners, their top concern was the sort of freedom of movement on holidays, particularly in Europe, and that could actually put them off. In fact, we also know from the study that 50% of Londoners have actually held off on booking their holiday this summer because of the Brexit uncertainty, and 20% of those people are not planning to visit Europe just in case things do actually change. So that shows how concerned Londoners in particular are. Now, in reality, we are worth so much as a nation in terms of our tourism value, particularly to Spain. Spain's had a record year for arrivals from the UK this year, partly because of the impact of terrorist attacks. So we know that those countries, would not put in restrictions to make it prohibitive for us to visit. However, the uncertainty itself is very dangerous in people's minds.
Yeah, so the chances are we'll be fine, certainly for the immediate future. However, people are still extremely worried about it. When it comes to the other way, there are lots of Europeans who've told you, actually, we think it'll be more expensive to come to the UK. London's already pretty expensive. Is it likely to put many people off coming to the capital?
It could do. I mean, at the moment, the figures suggest that 30% of Europeans would be put off coming to the UK in the next 12 months, partly uncertainty, and partly because they're worried that the prices will go up. There's all that uncertainty about the currency, will the pound devalue? It could actually be cheaper for Europeans, but at the moment they're telling us that they probably wouldn't be booking the UK in the next 12 months should we leave. And for London in particular, half of every tourism pound spent in the UK is spent in London. So that's a really significant figure.
Yeah, just give us a bit of a wider context on the £4 billion. That seems like a vast amount of money we could lose should this study be accurate.
Yeah, so I mean, at the moment, annually, London, it generates about £18 billion in revenue from tourism. So that £4 billion, is a significant chunk of that. But that's tourists from the US and Canada as well are into that number. And so it's an unknown entity, but it's not just actually the resorts and hotels. We're talking about that the knock-on effect will be much larger than that. So if you think about the services that supply the restaurants, the people that wash all the linens in the hotels, all of those businesses as well would be impacted. So that number actually could be 2, 3, 4 times larger than that in reality.
Yeah, from your expert opinion, at this stage, if you're thinking about booking a summer holiday, you probably shouldn't really worry too much about what happens on the 23rd of June. Nothing's going to happen that quickly.
No, there should be a cooling off period. It's sort of what you book now, that all those things that are in place will hold fast, you'll be protected, you'll still be able to use your travel insurance. So, the reality is people should not be afraid to book right now, but there's no doubt that uncertainty and that kind of confusion about what could happen is making people a bit more reluctant to book, and that in itself is quite damaging as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, Louise Hodges from Travel Zoo, thank you as always for joining us this morning. So, despite what's going on, all this talk around the EU referendum having an impact already on the tourism industry,